YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. And recently we've been doing all these player rankings, unit rankings. Today we got our receiver corps rankings. I got my top 10. We'll go from 10 to 1. But first, we'll actually talk about 5 teams, units that just missed the cut. The first one is kind of a just missed the cut / sleeper. So we'll really talk about 15 units here. Excited to break down a bunch of ranking videos on the channel. More to come. Can't wait for our in-season content, so join us for that. Like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Follow us on Twitter. Link down below for that. Super followers get bonus content. So that sleeper / just missed the cut team will be the Washington Commanders, which have a pretty good trio. It's kind of a big if, though. Jahad Dotson, who I think will be good, has to turn out, and Curtis Samuel has to stay healthy. Terry McLaurin, the star of that group, obviously. And Logan Thomas, we've seen him injured last year, but before that, we saw him playing at a pretty high level, so it could be a solid tight end. And they have Cam Sims, maybe De'Ami Brown steps up, and then John Bates, more of the blocking tight end for them. So pretty balanced unit. I know McLaurin kind of stands out, maybe carries the group a little bit, but I think overall it's a pretty balanced unit. There's no spot that's we're saying that's pretty weak spot right there. They don't really have that, so that's a good sign as well. So this could be a sneaky, we know it will be solid, but it also could be maybe even better, a sneaky in that way on how good it could be. Another one that just missed the cut is the 49ers. Yeah, Debo and Kittle kind of carry this group a little bit. Debo kind of adjusting his role a little bit. Will he be as good? I still think he's a top-tier talent. Kittle got to stay healthy. Ayuk, originally was going to rank the Niners within the top 10 because I'm thinking Samuel, Kittle, Ayuk, what Ayuk could be, the way we hype him up every year, but he's actually got to go out and do it. We hyped him up last year, was disappointing, was pretty good at the end of the year, so now getting the hype again. So we'll see if he goes out and produces here, which I think he has the ability to do. And this other receiver spot could be Danny Gray, who's lighting it up in training camp and preseason, or Jawan Jennings, who's been solid for the 49ers. So he kind of got 2 options there for that spot. So, want to see Samuel in his new role, want to see Kittle stay healthy, want to see Ayuk take that next step there, be a little bit more consistent. Next, the Bills, which this group, it's going to get a lot of production, and a guy like Gabriel Davis is going to really take some strides this year, step up. But it is kind of getting carried by Stephon Diggs a little bit, and it helps they have Josh Allen throwing the ball to them. But Gabe Davis should take that step up. Dawson Knox, a very solid tight end, been improving, still young. And the other receiver spot could be Isaiah McKenzie or Jamison Crowder. I love the draft pick, Khalil Shakir. They have O.J. Howard in there as well. How good this group is on Sundays. It's crazy to think they actually could get better. They actually could, there's some of these teams that have like an elite duo between 2 receivers or receiver and tight end. The Bills don't have that, but Davis might be on his way up to help the Bills have that, with him and Diggs. So we'll see. Next up, the Vikings. The Vikings got a big-time duo here. That's probably why that, you look at the duo, and I was comparing all these different units when making this, and you start off with Jefferson and Thielen. All right, the Vikings are better than this team, but then you start going through the rest of the list. It's like, all right, maybe they kind of get passed up a little bit. And not to take anything away from KJ Osborne, because KJ Osborne was very solid last year, can continue to get better. So the trio is solid. It's mainly held up by the duo. Irv Smith Jr. can be good. Can he stay healthy, though? That's a major if, if he stays healthy, he can be good. So in the depth, maybe, some sleeper guys, Amir Smith-Marset, Bissy Johnson, healthy this year. Pretty solid trio, mainly held up by the duo. Just missed the cut for those reasons, but a very strong group here that I'm excited to watch this year. The Cardinals, tough one. They end up just missing, and it really was because DeAndre Hopkins suspended 6 games. If he wasn't suspended 6 games, they would not only be in the top 10, I think they'd easily be in the top 10. But it was tough because a lot of these teams are so close when it comes to the receiver corps, except for the top 2, I think it's pretty clear cut. But and since they're so close and you got their best weapon is suspended for 6 games, that's pretty damn tough there to rank them. But a pretty good group all the way through with Hopkins, Hollywood Brown, who needs to stay out of trouble off the field as well, and catch the ball better. But solid option there, fits the Cardinals, has played with Kyler Murray in the past. AJ Green and Rondale Moore kind of can flip-flop those guys in those spots, but they're going to use as many receivers as possible as well. And they have a couple quite a few good tight ends with Zach Ertz, Max Williams. They drafted Trey McBride. They have Wesley as another receiver as well. So it's a really deep, solid group. it's just tough that you're the one star guy that you have, like the one elite guy you have, has spent 6 games. So it's a tough one to rank the Cardinals, which again would be easily be inside the top 10 if Hopkins wasn't suspended. I'm kind of going off of this upcoming year, of course, because that's really the only thing that matters right now at this point of the year. So that's a tough one. But when Hopkins comes back, I'd say the Cardinals, they think, pushing top 6, around that range. So it's a good group, to say the least there. And then we got the top 10. We already saw the Vikings popped up by accident for a second. But now we're on to the top 10. I got the Steelers at number 10, which is a pretty balanced group. Deontay Johnson kind of leads the way. Solid receiver. Did a little bit better job catching the ball last year. Got his extension. Chase Claypool, maybe a little more impressive his rookie year compared to last year. George Pickens should be a stud this year. He's already looking promising. And they have a very solid tight end in Pat Freiermuth. And then some depth guys, some depth receivers there that they have. But it's a pretty damn balanced group. They don't have a star guy. I know Deontay Johnson, maybe fans would say that's their star. I wouldn't consider him a star. But very, very good, but they have a pretty damn balanced group. We'll see how Pickens does. It's still kind of to be determined. We have our ideas in our head, like what Pickens could be. He's looking pretty good there. Number 9, going to go with the Saints. I think also a pretty balanced group. It's kind of just banking on Michael Thomas staying healthy here. Then Jarvis Landry, we know what we're going to get from him. And Chris Olave should be one of the better rookies, if not maybe the best rookie receiver out there. Tight end, a little bit of a question. Could be Trotman. Put Taysom Hill up here, just more of a weapon in my opinion, and when they use Hill in situational moments, things get very predictable. So I would like for them to use Hill as much as possible there so that they don't get predictable. We'll see. Marquez Callaway is a solid depth option. Traquan Smith, same thing. So it's a really balanced group all the way through. Which Michael Thomas are we going to get? Healthy, not healthy, star Michael Thomas, or just very good Michael Thomas? So there's some questions there. Will Olave make strides right away? So some questions, but I really like this group, especially where they came from last year, not having Michael Thomas, not having Jarvis Landry, not having Chris Olave. They had Michael Thomas, but he's injured, so, and then Taysom Hill at quarterback a lot. So a lot different, and I really like what they did there. Number 8 is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles, which grew on me when I was making this video. I'm kind of like comparing. I kind of had them, in the just missed list, and I started thinking like, yeah, they kind of got a big 3 going here, actually, if you think about it. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. Of course, we want Smith to take that next step, but that's sort of a big 3, so I'm like, I got to bump them up. They got to make the top 10 here. So that's a pretty good group. A battle for that third receiver spot between Quez Watkins, who's higher on the depth chart now, Jalen Reagor, who is looking pretty good in training camp, and Zach Pascal, who is a very good blocking receiver, which the Eagles like to run the ball, so I could see Pascal starting just for that reason there. You don't want to get predictable there with him on and off the field, what's happening, though. But it's a really good group. A.J. Brown's a huge pickup. Devontae Smith, big fan of his. He's got to step up, though. Goddard is a very solid, proven tight end, so that's a really good group from the Eagles there. Number 7, I'm going to go with the Chargers. Got a big-time duo in Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. I think both those guys will play better than they did last year. That's kind of I don't know if that's that bold, but I think they're going to catch the ball better, so they're going to play better this year. And Josh Palmer is about to break out. I love that pick when the Chargers selected him out of Tennessee. It's such a perfect fit there. And I think Everett's going to be very productive. It's kind of that weapon-type tight end that they needed. So this is they have that big 2, but this is a pretty balanced, deep group, having Guyton down there as well, and some other options. So having Herbert throwing the ball is pretty helps them by a good amount as well. So I like the Chargers at 7. I got the Rams at 6. Now, I put OBJ and question marks on it. If they add OBJ back, and he will miss some time. If they add OBJ back and we learn how much time he'll miss, but they'll be better than 6. They would be better than 6 because you have a big 3 in Cooper Kupp, OBJ, Allen Robinson. So that changes things. Because Van Jefferson's kind of hot, cold, kind of disappears a little bit. But a big 2 there with Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson. Hopefully Robinson kind of steps back up. He should with Matthew Stafford having the elite guy, and Cooper Kupp is big time. And then Higbee, solid tight end. Obviously, there's better ones in this list, but Atwell, Skoranek, and then possibly OBJ. And Lance McCutcheon's showing out in preseason, too, so that's a guy to watch out for as well. But, yeah, kind of held up by the big 2, but some solid odds. It's not like they have weak spots. They have other solid options. Higbee's very solid. Jefferson's solid, But if they had OBJ back, they definitely get a little bit of a boost here. A little bit, maybe more than that. So they're at 6 for now. 5, going to go with the Chiefs, which you think maybe have went down since losing Tyreek Hill, but they have a pretty deep group now. It's just about staying healthy. Look at Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, got to stay healthy. But Juju's, I think, underrated at this point. He was looking like one of the best young receivers early in his career, looking like he was going to be an elite receiver. And then I think Big Ben started to decline. The Steelers started to run the ball more, dink and dunk a little bit more, and that kind of hurt Juju Smith-Schuster. Now he goes to Patrick Mahomes in that high-powered passing attack, who has really been in need of a kind of a slot receiver like this, a big slot that can do it all. I think it's just, as long as he stays healthy, I think he's going to be super productive, better than everyone thinks. So, like Smith-Schuster, like Valdes-Scantling is the deep speed threat for Patrick Mahomes. They have Hardman who has experience. Sky Moore could take that third receiver spot, who I was a big fan of, had a first-round grade on. Watson's looking good. They have Blake Bell. And they have a number of guys that Mahomes is just making look better than we thought what we thought they were. And you see some guys leave, DeMarcus Robinson, Pringle, they may not look as good away from the Chiefs. Robinson already got cut, once, so it's looking like that's a fact. And then forgot to mention, they got Travis Kelce, which is the elite piece of this group. I wouldn't be surprised if Juju looked like an elite receiver this year. Is he an elite receiver? Definitely can't say that right now, but if he stays healthy, he's going to look very good. So this is a deep, balanced group with a big-time elite star in Travis Kelce, so I like the Chiefs here in the top 5. Number 4, I'm going to go with the Dolphins, who really improved that group with Jalen Waddle coming in his second year, already took off in his rookie year. Tyreek Hill, they get an elite player there. Will he be as good? Going from the Chiefs to the Dolphins, I'm going to say what we're all thinking. Like, no, he's probably not going to be as good. I don't think it's going to be a lot off, though, so we could still call Tyreek Hill an elite receiver, just playmaker here in general. And Cedric Wilson's a very solid receiver 3, was very solid when he got the opportunity with the Cowboys. And Mike Gesicki's an impressive receiving tight end. This morning we were tweeting about it. He's actually kind of come up in some maybe trade talks, nothing serious yet, but that's interesting. So, maybe getting worse at tight end actually could bump them down here a little bit. Now, in that system, I don't know if they'll miss Gesicki a whole lot, but, in an exercise like this, Gesicki's he's a very good tight end. He's kind of holding them up in that 4 spot, even though they have other good pieces. They're pretty deep, though. They got Preston Williams, Mohamed Sanu, Lynn Bowden, Durham Smythe, their second tight end. Could Hunter Long step up? So Dolphins got a good group here. It really improved it. Number 3, the Raiders here, which they could use some depth, and I think they are looking for some. Maybe somebody to take over that Matt Collins spot. Maybe it's Tyrone Johnson. Maybe it's Keelan Cole, or they could add some. I think they're looking to add, but they got a big 3 and then part of that big 3 is his 2 star players, and Devontae Adams, arguably the best receiver in football, and Darren Waller, arguably maybe one of the best receiving tight ends in football. Just a mismatch problem. Got to stay healthy. And they have Hunter Renfrow, who's one of the more. How do you say? You know what you're going to get from Renfrow. You're going to get consistency. One of the more consistent slot receivers there from Renfrow, who's getting better. So that's a really good group there. It just helps that they kind of have that star power at receiver and tight end. Could use another depth piece, though, but it's a really good group here coming in at 3. I have the top 2 it was just so obvious. Like, these are the top 2, like 3 through even teams that just missed were just splitting hairs. That's all that was splitting them up there. The top 2, I think, was pretty clear cut. The Buccaneers with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. It's a dominant duo, but they don't stop there. They have Russell Gage, who really got better last year, and he's going to be fantastic in this offense with Tom Brady. And they have Julio Jones as well. Some people would put Julio Jones in that spot. I think Russell Gage plays more. I think he's better at this point in his career. And they kind of have a tight end duo that you can swap them, Cameron Brate, Kyle Rudolph. They have Tyler Johnson as well. They have Jalen Darden. So they have other pieces here. So they're pretty deep. They got the big-time duo, but there's really no weak spot. Sure, they could be a little better at tight end, starting tight end. But they have that duo. I think Rudolph's going to be dangerous in the red zone there with Tom Brady. And then number 1, you got to go with the Bengals, which perfect world, you kind of wish their depth was a little bit better at receiver. Because they use all 3 of these guys at once. What if somebody goes down? You do wish they have a better depth guy. So we'll see if they're active in the waiver wire these next couple weeks here. But Jamar Chase, already elite receiver on his way to being the best in football. It could already be that way this year. And I'm not just saying that based off 1 year. It's something I thought when I watched him play a few years ago at LSU. So he's the real deal. I think everyone should know that by now. And T. Higgins was just. Should have been a first-round pick, just outstanding last year, a serious a vertical threat, the outside threat there, and Tyler Boyd, who's one of the more consistent slot receivers in football. And Hayden Hurst, I think, probably could take a step up here playing with Joe Burrow, playing with these guys. Solid tight end. They have Drew Sample as well. And they have Trent Taylor, who's a little sneaky, Mike Thomas as well. But they could use another depth piece. It's just, I mean, with how the Bengals run things, using 3 receivers at once, and how they cause mismatch problems, just problems in general, because who do we focus on? Because, we got to watch out not just for the outside, the dominant on the outside, but the slot as well. It showed all last year on the field. Those are the reasons that you got to put them at number 1. Again, I wish their depth was a little better, though, just in case here. So we'll see maybe if they're active. I think that's actually a need the more you think about it, that just getting another piece in there, because they had maybe they bring Auden Tate back. Just thought of that. Maybe they bring him back. He was just cut yesterday by the Atlanta Falcons. That's interesting. I think he was a little unhappy, though, that he wasn't getting much action. So, yeah, we'll see. That is my receiver corps rankings, though. Let me know your thoughts. And, of course, there are other good ones we didn't talk about. We didn't talk about every team here. But, let me know your thoughts in the comments. More rankings like this on the channel, more to come. But we're getting ready for that in-season content. Cannot wait. Follow us on Twitter for constant NFL talk. That's going to do it, though. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.